Welcome, fellow travelers and dreamers, to one of the most extraordinary journeys you'll ever experience. Today, we're embarking on a magical odyssey through Europe's most magnificent castles and fortresses, structures that have stood as silent witnesses to centuries of human ambition, love, betrayal, and triumph. From the misty highlands of Scotland to the sun-drenched hills of Spain, from the romantic valleys of Germany to the dramatic coastlines of France, we'll explore 10 breathtaking locations that represent the pinnacle of architectural achievement and historical significance. These aren't just buildings of stone and mortar. They're living museums that whisper tales of kings and queens, knights and nobles, artists and visionaries who shaped the very fabric of European civilization. Each castle we'll visit today tells a unique story, shaped by its geography, culture, and the remarkable people who called it home. You'll discover how the rugged terrain of Romania influenced the mysterious legend of Dracula, how the strategic position of Mont Saint-Michel made it an unconquerable fortress, and how the romantic dreams of a mad king created one of the world's most photographed castles. But here's a question that will guide our entire journey. What is it about these ancient structures that continues to captivate our modern hearts? Is it their architectural beauty, their historical significance, or perhaps something deeper, a connection to our shared human story of ambition and creativity? As we explore together, I encourage you to imagine yourself walking these same corridors where history was made. And if you're feeling inspired to visit these incredible places yourself, don't forget to check the links in our description below for exclusive deals on flights and accommodations. But first, hit that subscribe button, because every great journey begins with a single step, and your subscription helps us bring you more incredible adventures. Now, let's begin our magical journey. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. Perched dramatically on a rugged hilltop in the Bavarian Alps, Neuschwanstein Castle rises from the landscape like something conjured from the pages of a Brothers Grimm fairy tale. Located near the town of Füssen in southern Bavaria, this architectural marvel sits at an elevation of 965 meters above sea level, commanding breathtaking views of the alpine foothills and pristine lakes below. The geographical setting couldn't be more perfect. surrounded by dense forests, crystal-clear mountain lakes, and the imposing peaks of the Austrian border just kilometers away. The castle overlooks the villages of Hohenschwangau and Schwangau, with the stunning Alpsee and Schwansee glittering like jewels in the valley below. Bavaria's culture is deeply rooted in Germanic traditions, where folklore, music, and craftsmanship have flourished for centuries. This region has long been the heartland of German Romanticism, where legends of knights, dragons, and enchanted forests shaped the collective imagination. The Bavarian people have always possessed a profound appreciation for natural beauty and artistic expression, values that would ultimately inspire one of history's most fantastical architectural projects. The story of Neuschwanstein begins with King Ludwig II of Bavaria, often called the Mad King, though perhaps Dreamer King would be more accurate. Construction began in 1869, born from Ludwig's obsession with medieval romanticism and his deep admiration for the operas of Richard Wagner. Ludwig envisioned a castle that would serve as a personal retreat and homage to medieval German legends, particularly the story of the Swan Knight, Lohengrin. Tragically, Ludwig died under mysterious circumstances in 1886, just before the castle's completion, having spent only 172 days in his dream palace. The irony is profound. A man who built a fairy tale castle for solitude and escape, yet never truly got to enjoy his creation. Famous destinations within and around Neuschwanstein include the Throne Hall with its stunning Byzantine-style architecture, the Singers' Hall inspired by Wagner's operas, and the breathtaking views from Marienbrücke, which offers the most iconic photographic vantage point of the castle. Neuschwanstein Castle represents the ultimate fairy tale destination, a 19th century romantic fantasy built in Bavaria's stunning alpine setting, created by a king who turned his dreams into stone, inspiring Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle and captivating millions of visitors with its blend of medieval legend and architectural artistry.
Mont Saint-Michel, France.
In the vast tidal flats of Normandy, where the sea meets the sky in an endless dance of light and water, stands one of France's most extraordinary wonders, Mont Saint-Michel. This UNESCO World Heritage Site sits on a rocky islet approximately 1 kilometer off the northwest coast of France, connected to the mainland by a causeway that disappears during high tide, creating one of nature's most dramatic spectacles. The geographical uniqueness of Mont Saint-Michel cannot be overstated. Located in the Bay of Mont Saint-Michel, where Normandy meets Brittany, this tidal island experiences some of Europe's most extreme tides, with water levels varying by up to 15 meters. During spring tides, the sea rushes in at the speed of a galloping horse, completely surrounding the mount and transforming it into a mystical island fortress. Norman culture is a fascinating blend of Viking heritage, French sophistication, and medieval Christian devotion. The Normans were descendants of Norse raiders who settled in northern France in the 10th century, bringing with them a warrior spirit and exceptional architectural skills. This cultural fusion created a society that valued both martial prowess and artistic achievement, perfectly embodied in Mont Saint-Michel's dual nature as fortress and sanctuary. The abbey's history spans over 1,300 years, beginning in 708 when the Archangel Michael allegedly appeared to Bishop Aubert of Avranches, commanding him to build a church on the rocky outcrop. What started as a simple oratory evolved over centuries into one of medieval Europe's most important pilgrimage destinations. During the Hundred Years' War, Mont Saint-Michel served as an impregnable fortress, never falling to English siege despite numerous attempts. The development of Mont Saint-Michel reflects the evolution of medieval society itself. Benedictine monks transformed the rocky island into a center of learning and spirituality, while the growing village below supported pilgrims from across Europe. The abbey's architecture spans several periods, from Romanesque foundations to Gothic spires, creating a vertical city that seems to defy gravity itself. Famous destinations include the Abbey Church with its soaring Gothic architecture, the medieval village streets that wind up the Mount's steep slopes, the ramparts offering spectacular views of the bay, and the tidal causeway that provides a dramatic approach during low tide. The abbey's refectory, crypt, and cloisters showcase the sophisticated life of medieval monks, while the village's ancient houses and narrow streets transport visitors back to medieval times. Mont Saint-Michel stands as a testament to human faith and architectural genius, where medieval monks created a vertical city on a tidal island, combining spiritual devotion with defensive necessity, resulting in one of the world's most unique and inspiring destinations that literally rises from the sea twice daily.
Pena Palace, Portugal. High atop the Sintra Mountains, just 30 kilometers west of Lisbon, sits one of Europe's most colorful and romantic palaces, the Pena Palace. This extraordinary 19th century castle crowns the second highest peak in the Sintra range, surrounded by the lush Pena Park, with its 200 hectares of exotic trees, plants, and winding paths that create a true earthly paradise. The geographical setting of Sintra is nothing short of magical. The region benefits from a unique microclimate created by the proximity of the Atlantic Ocean and the protection of the mountains, resulting in extraordinary lush vegetation and frequent mystical mists that roll through the valleys. This enchanted landscape has attracted royalty, artists, and writers for centuries, earning Sintra designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Cultural Landscape. Portuguese culture in the 19th century was experiencing a romantic revival, heavily influenced by European Romanticism and the country's rich maritime heritage. Portugal's connection to distant lands through its age of exploration had created a unique aesthetic sensibility that embraced the exotic and the eclectic. The Portuguese have always possessed a deep appreciation for beauty in all its forms, from the intricate azulejo tiles that adorn their buildings to the melodic fado music that expresses their saudade, a uniquely Portuguese form of longing and nostalgia. The Pena Palace was conceived by King Ferdinand II, a German prince who married Queen Maria II of Portugal. A passionate romantic and patron of the arts, Ferdinand purchased the ruins of a 16th-century monastery in 1838 and transformed it into a summer residence that would embody the romantic spirit of the age. Construction continued from 1842 to 1854, with Ferdinand personally involved in every design decision. The palace's development represents a unique moment in architectural history, when eclectic revivalism was at its peak. Ferdinand and his architects created a fantastical blend of Neo-Gothic, Neo-Renaissance, Neo-Islamic, and Neo-Manuelian styles, painted in vibrant yellows, reds, and blues that seemed to change color with the shifting light and mist. Famous destinations within the complex include the Arab Room with its intricate Islamic-inspired decorations, the Noble Floor with its preserved 19th-century royal apartments, the palace kitchens that showcase royal dining customs, and the extraordinary terraces offering panoramic views over the central landscape, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. The surrounding Pena Park contains exotic species from around the world, hidden grottos, and romantic pathways that make it a destination in itself. Pena Palace represents the ultimate expression of 19th-century Romantic architecture, where a German prince created a colorful fairy tale castle in Portugal's mystical Sintra Mountains, combining diverse architectural styles in a spectacular setting that captures the romantic spirit of an age that dared to dream in vivid colors. Prague Castle, Czech Republic. Dominating the skyline of one of Europe's most beautiful cities, Prague Castle stands as the largest ancient castle complex in the world, according to the Guinness Book of Records. Stretching over 70,000 square meters on a hill overlooking the Vltava River, this magnificent complex has served as the seat of power for Czech kings, Holy Roman emperors, and modern presidents for over 1,000 years. Prague's geographical position at the heart of Europe has made it a crossroads of cultures, trade routes, and artistic influences. The city straddles the Vltava River in the Bohemian Basin, surrounded by rolling hills and positioned strategically between Germanic and Slavic territories. This central location has blessed Prague with incredible architectural diversity, while sometimes making it a prize fought over by competing empires. Czech culture represents a unique blend of Slavic traditions, Germanic influences, and a fierce independence that has survived centuries of foreign domination. The Czech people have always valued education, craftsmanship, and artistic expression, creating a society that produced remarkable innovations in everything from medieval engineering to modern literature. Their cultural identity has been forged through centuries of resistance against foreign rule, creating a deep appreciation for freedom and cultural preservation. The castle's history begins in the 9th century when Prince Borovoi built the first fortified settlement on this strategic hilltop. Over the following centuries, successive rulers expanded and embellished the complex, with each era leaving its architectural signature. The castle reached its golden age during the reign of Charles IV in the 14th century, when Prague served as the capital of the Holy Roman Empire. The development of Prague Castle mirrors the evolution of Central European civilization itself. Romanesque foundations gave way to Gothic masterpieces, which were later enhanced with Renaissance gardens and Baroque flourishes. Each architectural layer tells the story of changing tastes, political fortunes, and artistic achievements spanning over a millennium. Famous destinations within the castle complex include St. Vitus Cathedral with its soaring Gothic spires and stunning stained glass windows, the Old Royal Palace with its magnificent Vladislav Hall featuring spectacular late Gothic vaulting, the charming Golden Lane with its colorful medieval houses where alchemists and craftsmen once lived, and the beautiful castle gardens offering peaceful retreats and spectacular city views. Prague Castle stands as Europe's largest castle complex and a living testament to over 1,000 years of Czech history, where Romanesque, Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque architecture combine to create a spectacular seat of power that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, while remaining the proud symbol of Czech independence and cultural achievement.
Bran Castle, Romania.
Perched dramatically on a rocky outcrop at the border between Wallachia and Transylvania, Bran Castle rises from the Carpathian Mountains like something from a Gothic novel. Located near the city of Brașov in central Romania, this 14th century fortress occupies a strategic position in the Bran Pass, historically serving as a customs point and defensive stronghold between two Romanian principalities. The geographical setting of Bran Castle is both beautiful and foreboding. The Carpathian Mountains create a dramatic backdrop of dense forests, deep valleys, and mist-shrouded peaks that have inspired countless legends and stories. The castle sits at an elevation that provides commanding views of the surrounding valleys while being naturally protected by steep cliffs and rocky terrain. Romanian culture is a rich tapestry woven from Dacian, Roman, Slavic, and Hungarian influences, creating a unique identity that bridges Eastern and Western Europe. Transylvania in particular has always been a land of mystery and folklore, where ancient traditions persist alongside medieval legends. The Romanian people have maintained their Latin heritage despite centuries of foreign influence, creating a culture that values both tradition and resilience. Bran Castle was built in 1377 by the Saxons of Kronstadt, modern Brașov, as a fortress to defend against Ottoman invasions. The castle's history is intertwined with some of Romania's most important historical figures, including Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Dracula, who may have stayed there briefly, though the connection is historically tenuous. The castle's development reflects the turbulent history of medieval Romania, serving various functions as fortress, royal residence, and customs house. Queen Marie of Romania transformed it into a beloved royal retreat in the 1920s, adding her personal touch to the medieval architecture and creating the romantic atmosphere that visitors experience today. The castle's fame skyrocketed in the 20th century due to its association with Bram Stoker's Dracula, though Stoker never visited Romania. The connection between Bran Castle and the fictional vampire count has made it one of Romania's most visited tourist destinations, blending historical reality with literary legend. Famous destinations include the castle's atmospheric interior, with Queen Marie's furnishings and personal belongings, the narrow staircases and secret passages that fuel vampire legends, the beautiful gardens and parks surrounding the castle, and the nearby medieval city of Brasov, with its well-preserved Saxon architecture and the famous Brasov sign visible from the castle towers. Bran Castle perfectly embodies the intersection of history and legend, where a medieval Transylvanian fortress became forever linked with vampire mythology while maintaining its authentic character as a royal residence, offering visitors both genuine historical insights and the thrill of exploring Dracula's legendary castle in the heart of Romania's mystical Carpathian Mountains.
Hohenzollern Castle, Germany.
Rising majestically from the Swabian Alps like a crown upon Mount Hohenzollern, this spectacular castle represents nearly 1,000 years of German noble heritage. Located approximately 50 kilometers south of Stuttgart in Baden-Württemberg, the castle sits atop an isolated 855-meter peak, commanding panoramic views across the surrounding countryside and serving as the ancestral seat of the House of Hohenzollern. The geographical position of Hohenzollern Castle is strategically perfect, an ancient volcanic hill that rises dramatically from the surrounding landscape, providing natural fortification while offering spectacular vistas. The Swabian Alps region is characterized by rolling hills, dense forests, and a landscape that has been shaped by centuries of human habitation and careful stewardship. Swabian culture represents one of Germany's most distinctive regional identities, known for engineering excellence, frugal wisdom, and deep-rooted traditions. The Swabians have a saying, "Schaffe, spare, Häusle baue," work, save, build a house, which reflects their practical approach to life and their emphasis on building lasting achievements. This cultural foundation of hard work and careful planning laid the groundwork for the Hohenzollern family's rise to prominence. The castle's history spans 3 distinct periods and structures. The first castle was built in the 11th century and destroyed in 1423 after a siege. The second castle, constructed in the mid-15th century, served as a fortress until it too fell into ruin. The current castle, the third on this site, was built between 1846 and 1867 by King Frederick William IV of Prussia as a monument to his family's heritage. The development of Hohenzollern Castle reflects the transformation of the Hohenzollern family from regional nobles to emperors of Germany. The family produced kings of Prussia and German Kaisers, making this castle not just a family seat, but a symbol of German imperial power. The 19th century reconstruction created a romantic interpretation of a medieval castle, combining historical authenticity with romantic idealization. Famous destinations include the castle's impressive collection of Prussian royal artifacts, including the crown of the Prussian kings, the Blue Salon with its stunning Baroque decorations, the armory displaying centuries of weapons and armor, the castle gardens offering breathtaking alpine panoramas, and the castle's Protestant chapel where family members are buried. The treasure chamber contains some of the most important artifacts of Prussian and German history. Hohenzollern Castle stands as a monument to German imperial heritage, where a 19th century romantic reconstruction created the perfect fairy tale castle atop an ancient volcanic peak, serving as both family seat and symbol of the Hohenzollern dynasty that shaped German history from medieval times through World War I. Alhambra Palace and Fortress, Spain. In the heart of Andalusia, crowning the Sabica Hill, overlooking the enchanting city of Granada, stands the Alhambra, a masterpiece of Islamic architecture that represents the pinnacle of Moorish civilization in Europe. This extraordinary palace complex, whose name means the Red One in Arabic, sits at 740 meters above sea level, with the snow-capped Sierra Nevada mountains providing a dramatic backdrop. The geographical setting of Granada is uniquely beautiful, located in a fertile valley where the Douro and Genil rivers converge. The Mediterranean climate, protection of surrounding mountains, and abundant water sources created perfect conditions for the gardens and fountains that make the Alhambra so magical. The contrast between the arid Spanish landscape and the lush palace gardens demonstrates the Moorish mastery of hydraulic engineering. Andalusian culture during the Moorish period represented one of history's most remarkable cultural synthesis. Al-Andalus, as Muslim Spain was known, became a center of learning, where Islamic, Jewish, and Christian scholars worked together, advancing mathematics, medicine, philosophy, and the arts. This period of convivencia, coexistence, created a sophisticated civilization that valued knowledge, beauty, and tolerance. The Alhambra's construction began in the 13th century under the Nasrid dynasty, the last Muslim rulers of the Iberian Peninsula. Muhammad I established the palace as a royal residence and fortress, but it was under Yusuf I and Muhammad V in the 14th century that the complex reached its architectural zenith. Every element was designed to create a paradise on earth, reflecting Islamic concepts of heaven. The development of the Alhambra continued for over 2 centuries, with each ruler adding his own contributions, while maintaining the overall aesthetic harmony. The complex includes royal palaces, administrative buildings, military fortifications, and extensive gardens, all unified by the sophisticated use of water, light, and geometric decoration that characteristics Islamic architecture. The conquest of Granada by the Catholic monarchs in 1492 marked the end of nearly 8 centuries of Muslim rule in Spain. But fortunately, the beauty of the Alhambra was preserved and even enhanced by subsequent Christian rulers who recognized its extraordinary value. Famous destinations within the Alhambra include the Court of Lions, with its famous fountain supported by 12 marble lions, the Hall of the Abencerrages with its spectacular star-shaped dome, the Court of Myrtles reflecting the sky in its long pool, the General Leaf Gardens with their fountains and flower beds, and the Alcazaba Fortress offering panoramic views of Granada and the surrounding mountains. The Alhambra represents the ultimate achievement of Moorish architecture in Europe, where 13th and 14th century Muslim rulers created an earthly paradise of fountains, gardens, and geometric beauty that demonstrates the sophisticated civilization of Al-Andalus and stands as a testament to the power of art to transcend cultural and religious boundaries.
Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Dominating Scotland's capital city from its perch atop an ancient volcanic rock, Edinburgh Castle stands as one of the most recognizable and strategically important fortresses in Europe. Rising 134 meters above sea level on Castle Rock, this imposing stronghold has guarded the city for over 900 years, serving as royal residence, military garrison, and enduring symbol of Scottish independence. The geographical position of Edinburgh Castle is both dramatic and strategic. Castle Rock is the solidified core of an ancient volcano, shaped by glacial action during the last ice age into the perfect natural fortress. The steep cliffs on three sides provide natural defense, while the gentler slope to the east, now the famous Royal Mile, provided the only accessible route to the summit. Scottish culture has been forged through centuries of struggle for independence, creating a national character that values freedom, clan loyalty, and fierce pride in cultural traditions. The Scots have maintained their distinct identity despite centuries of conflict with England, preserving their Gaelic heritage, Highland traditions, and a warrior spirit that finds expression in everything from Highland games to military regiments that serve with distinction worldwide. Edinburgh Castle's history stretches back to at least the 12th century, though archaeological evidence suggests the rock has been fortified since the Iron Age. The castle has been besieged more than any other place in Britain, changing hands between Scottish and English forces numerous times during the Wars of Scottish Independence. It was here that many of Scotland's most important historical events unfolded. The castle's development reflects Scotland's turbulent history, with each era leaving its architectural mark. The oldest surviving building, St. Margaret's Chapel, dates from the early 12th century, while the Great Hall was built by James IV in the early 16th century. The Half Moon Battery and other defensive works were added in the 16th century following siege damage.
Edinburgh Castle has witnessed the births and deaths of kings, served as a prison for important captives, and housed the Scottish crown jewels, the honours of Scotland, for centuries. The castle's role evolved from medieval royal residence to military garrison, adapting to changing needs while maintaining its symbolic importance as the heart of Scottish identity. Famous destinations within the castle include the Crown Jewels display featuring the ancient honours of Scotland, St. Margaret's Chapel, the oldest building in Edinburgh, the Great Hall with its impressive hammerbeam roof, the National War Museum, the famous 1 o'clock gun fired daily from the castle ramparts, and the Stone of Destiny, used in the coronation of Scottish kings for centuries before being taken to England and recently returned. Edinburgh Castle embodies the spirit of Scotland itself, proud, enduring, and unconquerable, where nearly a millennium of Scottish history has unfolded atop an ancient volcanic rock, serving as royal residence, military stronghold, and eternal symbol of Scottish independence that continues to guard the nation's treasures and memories.
Castel del Monte, Italy. In the heart of Puglia, southeastern Italy, rises one of the most mysterious and mathematically perfect castles ever built, Castel del Monte. This extraordinary 13th century fortress stands alone on a hilltop in the Merge Plateau, approximately 18 kilometers from the city of Andria. Its distinctive octagonal shape and perfect proportions make it unlike any other medieval castle in the world. The geographical setting of Castel del Monte is deceptively simple, but strategically chosen. The castle sits on a modest hill, 540 meters above sea level, providing panoramic views across the Puglian countryside toward both the Adriatic and the Gargano Peninsula. The surrounding landscape of olive groves, vineyards, and wheat fields stretches to the horizon, creating a peaceful rural setting that belies the castle's sophisticated design. The culture of medieval southern Italy was extraordinarily cosmopolitan, particularly during the reign of Frederick II.
Puglia in the 13th century was a crossroads where Norman, Byzantine, Islamic, and classical Roman influences merged. This cultural synthesis created an intellectual environment that valued mathematical precision, philosophical inquiry, and architectural innovation, all reflected in Castel del Monte's unique design. Castel del Monte was built around 1240 by Emperor Frederick II, one of the most remarkable rulers of the medieval period. Known as Stupor Mundi, Wonder of the World, Frederick was fluent in 9 languages, a patron of arts and sciences, and a ruler who sought to create a new form of enlightened monarchy. The castle was never intended as a fortress in the traditional sense, but rather as a hunting lodge and symbol of imperial power. The development of Castel del Monte represents a unique moment in medieval architecture when mathematical principles, astronomical observations, and symbolic meaning converged in stone. Every aspect of the castle's design is based on the number 8. 8 sides, 8 rooms on each floor, 8 towers, creating geometric perfection that may have had astrological or mystical significance. The castle's purpose has puzzled historians for centuries. With no moat, drawbridge, or kitchen facilities, it clearly wasn't designed for extended habitation or defense. Instead, it appears to have been conceived as a philosophical statement in stone, perhaps representing Frederick's vision of perfect imperial authority, or serving as a center for scholarly and courtly activities. Famous destinations include the castle's perfectly preserved octagonal courtyard with its mathematical precision, the sophisticated system of rainwater collection and distribution, the mysterious rooms with their ribbed vaulting and precise acoustics, the panoramic terraces offering views across Puglia's countryside, and the nearby archaeological sites that provide context for Frederick II's cultural achievements. Castel del Monte stands as medieval Europe's most enigmatic architectural achievement, where Emperor Frederick II created a perfect octagonal castle that combines mathematical precision with mystical symbolism, representing the pinnacle of 13th century learning and the vision of a ruler who sought to merge different cultural traditions into something entirely new. Kylemore Abbey, Ireland. In the heart of Connemara, County Galway, where the wild Atlantic winds meet the rugged Irish landscape, stands Kylemore Abbey, a romantic 19th century castle that became one of Ireland's most beloved landmarks. Built on the shores of Kylemore Lough and nestled beneath the 12 Bens mountain range, this Victorian mansion embodies the romantic idealization of Irish landscape and culture. The geographical setting of Kylemore is quintessentially Irish, a landscape of dramatic contrasts, where mirror-like lakes reflect towering mountains, where ancient bogs stretch toward the horizon, and where the ever-changing Atlantic weather creates a constantly shifting palette of light and shadow. Connemara represents Ireland at its most wild and beautiful, a region where Gaelic culture has survived and thrived despite centuries of change. Irish culture in the 19th century was experiencing a romantic revival, as the beauty of Irish landscape, music, and literature gained international recognition. The Irish people, despite centuries of hardship and foreign domination, maintained their distinctive cultural identity through storytelling, music, and a deep spiritual connection to the land. This was the era of Irish cultural nationalism, when writers, artists, and musicians began celebrating Irish heritage with new pride and confidence. Kylemore Abbey was built between 1867 and 1871 by Mitchell Henry, a wealthy English businessman and politician, as a romantic gift for his wife Margaret. Henry fell in love with the Connemara landscape during his honeymoon and decided to create a castle that would rival any European palace while celebrating the natural beauty of Ireland. The development of Kylemore reflects Victorian ideals of romantic architecture and landscape design. Henry employed hundreds of local workers and imported materials from around the world to create a 70-room mansion, complete with formal gardens, a Gothic church, and all the modern conveniences of the Victorian era. The estate became a model of Victorian self-sufficiency, with its own farm, gardens, and workshops. Tragedy struck in 1874 when Margaret Henry died of dysentery during a trip to Egypt. Heartbroken, Mitchell Henry built a beautiful Gothic church in her memory, creating one of Ireland's most romantic architectural monuments to enduring love. In 1920, the castle was sold to Benedictine nuns who had fled Belgium during World War I. The nuns established a girls' boarding school that operated until 2010, adding another chapter to Kylemore's rich history while preserving its architectural heritage for future generations. Famous destinations include the restored Victorian walled garden, one of Ireland's most spectacular formal gardens, the Gothic church built as a memorial to Margaret Henry, the Abbey's elegant rooms showcasing Victorian craftsmanship and Irish cultural artifacts, the woodland walks offering stunning views of Kylemore Lough, and the nearby Connemara National Park, with its mountains, bogs, and traditional Irish countryside. Kylemore Abbey represents the perfect fusion of Victorian romanticism and Irish natural beauty, where an English businessman's love for his wife and for Ireland created a magnificent castle that became a symbol of enduring love, educational excellence, and the timeless appeal of Ireland's most spectacular landscape. As our enchanted journey through Europe's most magnificent castles comes to an end, we've traveled not just across geographical distances, but through centuries of human dreams, ambitions, and artistic achievements. From the fairy tale fantasy of Neuschwanstein to the mystical tides of Mont Saint-Michel, from the colorful romance of Pena Palace to the ancient power of Prague Castle, each destination has revealed profound truths about the human spirit and our eternal quest to create beauty that transcends time. Perhaps most importantly, these castles demonstrate the power of cultural synthesis and the beauty that emerges when different traditions meet and merge. The Alhambra's Islamic paradise, Prague Castle's Central European heritage, and Kylemore Abbey's Victorian romance all show us that the greatest achievements often come from embracing diversity and learning from other cultures. But here's a question for you to ponder. In your own life, what kind of castle are you building? Not necessarily in stone and mortar, but in terms of the legacy you're creating, the dreams you're pursuing, and the beauty you're bringing into the world. How can the persistence of these medieval builders inspire your own projects and aspirations? As you plan your own adventures to these incredible destinations, remember that the best travel experiences combine careful preparation with openness to unexpected discoveries. Research the history and culture beforehand, but also leave room for spontaneous moments of wonder. Talk to local guides, try regional cuisine, and take time to simply sit quietly and absorb the atmosphere of these extraordinary places. What castle has captured your imagination most strongly? Are you drawn to the fairy tale romance of Neuschwanstein, the mystical tides of Mont Saint-Michel, or perhaps the mathematical mysteries of Castel del Monte? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing about which destinations speak most powerfully to our viewers' hearts and travel dreams. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest travel adventures and destination guides. Your support helps us continue creating these detailed explorations of the world's most incredible places, and together we can keep the spirit of discovery and wonder alive for travelers everywhere.